Hello, Internet. It's been a bit long, hasn't it? Supposed to be knocking these out regularly. It's been quite a few weeks. It's not very good for the YouTube algorithm. It's not very good for anyone that wants a bit of support either. Play the riff. Okay, so normally we would say sorry for the delay at this point. But you know what? I'm not going to apologise. I'm fed up of apologising for things that my neurodiversity causes me that I can't help. So yeah, I'm being disorganised. I'm procrastinating. I'm having a real attack of what a band would call the difficult second album. Because my first one was very well received. Thank you very much for that. Well over 200 views is, as time of recording, is great for a first ever vlog on here. So I'm really chuffed with that. And of course, people pleasing, still people pleasing. Turns out that drugs can't cure everything. Didn't want to release something that wasn't up to the same standard. Not that the first one was of any sort of high standard. Okay, so how are we doing generally? Generally, pretty good, because I can actually look forward to getting up out of bed and doing something, which is a pretty rare event for me, and I can actually get on with stuff. My main interest at the moment is my Etsy shop, and I'm going to plug that remorselessly. You can buy my photos there, and the link is in the description. Power zoom in. Do you like that? You can see more of me, including, no doubt, the spot on the end of my nose. There is a wider discussion to be had regarding photography. Now, in my case, it is just the one activity which I found that I can get on with. Now that I have all this energy and purpose, I'm really finding that I can get on with photography. In many ways, it's kind of saved me, because before I was diagnosed and medicated, I just still managed to get out and take a few photos and just keep myself ticking over. It was something to get out of bed for. Well, that was hard. It was something to get out of bed for. And it's now just accelerated. It's really accelerated hard. So a few little things about what I do and how I do it. So while I enjoy lots of different sorts of photography, ultimately the idea is to make some money. So what I'm doing is I'm faffing around with trying all sorts of ways of trying to make images that I can sell. Close-up photos, macro photos are pretty straightforward, and I've got quite a few of them on the Etsy shop, actually.
So you don't need much kit, just a specialised macro lens, which is only a few hundred quid, Now, it does have its challenges, and you end up using a flash quite a lot, for reasons that I'll go into later. The cheapest and easiest is a speed light, and I'll explain what that is in a minute. So I looked into getting one, and that turned into a bit of a story all by itself.
Actually bought a speed light, recorded a thing about it the other day, and I'll stick that in here. Oh, and also there's a bit about, I'll let myself explain why, but I ended up taking it back and had a bit of a thought about that too. Okay, so the problem with macro photography is the depth of field. You get an incredibly narrow depth of field. And you get, while it produces very interesting effects when you're doing close-ups of flowers and things, sometimes you want to actually get a bit more of the damn thing in focus. And there's two ways of doing that. The one is to use a much narrower aperture, so that's a higher f number, which means that the hole in the camera is smaller. Am I having a stroke? I think I'm all right. The reason I said that is because lenses which have a big wide aperture are called fast lenses sometimes. So one with a small hole could be considered slower, maybe? No, anyway. A tiny little hole, which because physics increases the depth of field of the photo. Trouble with that, of course, is that you can't get enough light in. The best way to do that is to use a flash. Now, the camera has got a flash on it, but it isn't anywhere near powerful enough, and it's also incredibly directional because it is stuck to the top of the camera. So there are other ways of doing this, and the cheapest and easiest way is to use a thing called a speed light. This is a speed light, and it has several modes. You can stick it on top of the camera, so it just acts like the little flash that's on the top of the camera, but much more powerful. Let's crank up the power on it. Or you can stand it on its little stand, which is that there. Look, it's just like a hot shoe stand. And you can aim it at what you're filming from the side, which is really good and what I want. It is supposed to react to the camera flash. So you put your little flash up on the camera, you take the shot, the camera flashes, and the instant this detects the camera flashing, it flashes too. Which it does do, which is great. But unfortunately, this one is a bit wonky in that it just seems to flash all the time. There you go. I'm not pressing on or off. I'm not pressing test. I was pressing plus or minus then, and it's flashing, and you can get it to do it just by bashing the bottoms. There you go. So I don't know if you could see that actually. So I'm just hitting it at the bottom there, and it's going off. So that's not supposed to, that's quite annoying. So I think this one has a bad connection in it. It's faulty. So that is going back, which is annoying, but never mind.
Hey guys. So you find me in the missus's racy little car. She's got herself a Mini Cooper S as a toy car, which is actually, it's hilarious to drive. It's great fun. She's never going to use it to an extent. To be fair, and neither am I. Don't want to wreck it. But it's great fun. So I'm actually doing an ADHD thing here. I'm taking back that light, that speed light flash that didn't work, and I've got to take it back to a shop, and I've got to get them to print the label. This is interesting because this is the sort of thing that I could have found really, really hard before. Not something that's easy to do for me at all. Just checking we're recording. But now, not bothered about it like a normal person. Not going to be all anxious. I'm not sitting here. I'll tell you what I used to do is sit and rehearse exactly what I'm going to say when I go in. And I would sit there and repeat it like a litany over and over and over. I don't seem to feel the need to do that anymore. So anxiety, social anxiety, significantly reduced. So I'm chuffed to bits with that, I can tell you. Chuffed to bits with it. So, thanks amphetamines. Good work. Well done. Keep it up. Okay. All sent. Wasn't just as easy as I'd hoped, because I had to go off and find the print machine and find the email. Ooh, a bit bright. I think it's until I find the email in my Amazon app to then go find the machine to print it off. But I chatted to the lady and it wasn't a problem. Ridiculous how much easier everything is. And look at this. Look at it. What a car. Bless her. It's fun to drive. So yeah, all good. Well done me.
Yeah, there you go. Little things. Tiny little things that everybody else takes for granted are absolute revelation. So there you go. Back to depth of field. The other way to increase depth of field is to do it artificially. So the solution is to take several different photos at several different focus points, and you end up taking 3, 5, 10 different images, and then you go to Photoshop and then you do two operations. The first one is to auto blend layers, and that positions all of the images so that they are in exactly the same place. And then you go for a next operation called auto blend layers. Yes, auto blend layers it's called. And that takes the bits that are in focus of each of the image and sticks them all on one final image, which is very clever. And you can end up with some really quite good images like this one. This is a Rudbeckia. I think it's actually a blend of 4 images, a stack of 4 images, and you'll notice actually that it has an out of focus line through it, just at the peak of the seed head. So there's 2 images in front of that, then a little bit of out of focus behind it there, and then it's in focus again for the centre of the seed head and nothing behind it. Don't mind that in this case. I actually think it gives it quite a reasonable effect, although it was a mistake. That one is for sale, Etsy shop. Description, yeah, we know the drill. It also can be a disaster. I was just dicking about trying out the technique, and I ended up with images like this one, which I don't hate actually, but it's a bit silly. I'm not going to be selling that one anytime soon. And possibly even worse, this one, which is just hilarious and shows you how shallow the depth of field of each individual image is and how many you'd have to take in order to get a flower spike, which is, I don't know, a foot, 30 centimetres long possibly, and the leaf underneath it. Get all that into focus, you'd need about 20, and I think I've taken about 6 here. So yeah, that's a bit embarrassing, but we are learning all the time, and every day is a school day. Don't really like that phrase. Probably not going to use that again. Learning all the time. The learning curve is steep, but I am climbing it. Quick example of basic Photoshop skills. My banner on my Etsy shop was just a sunset with my logo on it, which was very pretty. I was proud of it. However, it didn't do anything to tell anybody what I was selling. So I have photoshopped up one to replace it, and here it is. I'm quite proud of it actually. I had to use some masks and stock photo desks and stuff like that, and some drop shadows and all that sort of thing, in order to put the objects that were on the stock photo of the desk on top of the photos to make it look like they were just casually scattered there, like I would do that in my studio, which I don't have. Anyway, I like it. Let me know what you think. Long way to go with Photoshop, long way to go. But another skill developed, and I am winning. And I am very pleased about that. I have started using the same procedure for some of the publicity photos that are actually on the Etsy site as well, like this one. So, yay me. Another skill developed.
And as these images so carelessly scattered on the desk prove, I also take pictures of great big things, not just photos of the middle bits of flowers in great detail. I take pictures of skyscapes and landscapes, and if anything, I dick around with them in Photoshop even more.
These ones are new as well, these sunset images. And there's a bit of a discussion to be had about these because, yeah, they are processed. I process them in Lightroom, which is kind of the baby brother of Photoshop. They're both produced by Adobe. It is a really useful program. It works on several different levels. You can just do very basic stuff on it, or you can actually do something that's a bit more complicated. Now, okay, the sunsets that I saw did not look like that. They were not as brightly coloured. I have fiddled with the clarity and the definition, the exposure, the luminosity, all those kind of things. I have fiddled with loads of sliders in Lightroom and ended up with that. Are they fake? Well, no, I'd argue that they're not, because everything that was in the sunset is there. I haven't painted anything out, and I haven't painted anything in either. So it's not a composite image. I haven't taken bits of all sorts of different skies and merged them together, although I could have. So I'm arguing that it's not a fake, because anyway, we have no idea how our brain interprets the signal it gets from our optical nerve. So all of us see everything differently. So who's to say it's not just a different way of looking at it? But anyway, just so you know, yes, I do edit my photos. No, I don't fabricate them. I don't cheat. They're not a Photoshop cheat. They are just they are enhanced in post-production, is what they are. They're intended to be striking. All of my images are supposed to be arresting, a focal point, not bland things to be hung in some hallway and never noticed. I may end up actually taking the colour saturation out of it to give it that sort of lovely minimal look. So is that cheating too? What about turning a colour picture into black and white? That cheating? Because that has the same effect. Yeah, don't know. Interesting one, that, I thought. Anyway, and I thought I'd share my thoughts with you. And also, really important, I'm accountable and honest for what I do. So, yeah, you can rest assured that around my house, we do not have the most spectacular sunsets in the absolute world ever, most nights. And I can just point my camera at a window and end up with an amazing looking, super chromatic shot. You knew that already. You're clever people. At the top of the road, in my home village, trying to get some pictures of the spectacular sunset that 10 minutes ago, words are so hard, 10 minutes ago looked like it was going to happen. However, clouds are in the wrong place. It's gone. That looked like it was going to be really spectacular 10 minutes ago, so I've made the effort to walk over and it's all gone away. That, however, is the nature of the beast, and at least I am out in a potato field near my village. You can see the church spire over there, look. And not sitting in front of the computer, so not all bad, and we'll give it a few more minutes. Okay, clever people, yet another time jump, because I never finish anything, and yes, it is annoying, very annoying. So we've had such a jump forward in time that I've even had time to remodel the office a bit, got new shelves in, new books, got a new chair, because I broke the old one and went and got it replaced. So the point of the vlog, stop rambling on, the point of the vlog is to reach out to people who have ADHD, particularly those that were diagnosed late in life, like me, and also to talk about my daily life and what I do for a living, and if anybody picks up any photography tips and hints, then that's a bonus. Need to share with you all that it's actually working. I did have one chap reach out to me really quite soon after the first vlog, and he wanted to talk to me because he thought he might be the same, and we had a lovely long chat just that afternoon, actually. I learned a lot. I probably talked too much and didn't listen enough, but then that's a skill that I'm still learning. I think he said he was really grateful, and we discussed things like the fact that ADHD is a neurological condition. It is a brain developmental condition and not a mental illness. You can't You can't cure it with drugs. It's not an infection or an autoimmune condition. It is a developmental issue that you've had since birth, well, since before birth. And I learned a lot from him as well about how his symptoms differ from mine, how he gets overwhelmed by his young children, the noise they make, and has to wear noise cancelling headphones in the house and stuff like that. So hopefully we've both helped each other on that one, and I was delighted with that. Actually, that was the whole point of the thing. I was so chuffed with that, and I was really pleased with myself as well, actually, which is not a usual thing for me. And actually, since then, I've actually had a friend, a Facebook and indeed poker friend, reach out to me to say that he would like to have a chat, and he would like to bring a friend of his with him. And I think we're going to go for tapas and have a lovely chat about how we're coping in a neurotypical world, which will be lovely, and I'm looking forward to that. So that is the whole point of the thing. I'm totally happy to do this with people, because I have to tell you that I am totally fed up of neurodivergence being treated as some kind of moral failing in society that we can change just to choose to change our behaviour. The world around us is designed by and designed for neurotypical people, and just because our brains have developed a little bit differently to yours in one particular area doesn't mean that our brains are wrong and yours are right. It does mean that we have to have more accommodations and more understanding in order to operate effectively within the neurotypical world. And it's something that just is not recognised in society yet, and I am going to continue being a vociferous advocate for this, specifically for female and for adult diagnosis, which has lagged behind the diagnosis of young boys, because they're the ones that present most obviously, but are not obviously the only ones that actually have neurodivergence. So no apologies for that at all. So rather than being lazy or never getting anything finished, like this vlog, or always being late for stuff, or forgetting things, or being clumsy, or any of the other things, society in general needs to know that we are really fucking trying all the time. We really, really are. And I refuse to have people judge me and my fellow sufferers for something that we absolutely cannot help. Other forms of disability have had this fight already, and I see no reason why it should not be the same for neurodivergence. There are lots of accommodations that people's employers can make in order to help, and they are not mandated to do so yet, and they should be. Talking of accommodations, YouTube, bless it, is not the most accommodating platform, because in order to get engagement on YouTube, you have to be consistent. You have to post regularly on a regular schedule about similar subjects, and then when you do that, YouTube will recognise that and gradually start to recommend your videos to more and more and more people. Now, I will try. I promise I will try, because this, honestly, even for me, the length of time between the last one and this one has been ridiculous. That being said, there are other things that we can all do. The other way that YouTube starts promulgating your material, increasing your reach, if you will, is by engagement. The number of people who register their engagement with a video. So that is why all YouTube videos have the standard call to arms, they call it. Everybody always says, so please like, comment, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Because every time somebody does one of those things, YouTube will note it, and it will note that channel is getting more interaction and is therefore becoming more popular and will therefore recommend it. So my first video was absolutely fantastic, like I said earlier on. Well over 200 views, it's 250 50 odd now, I think. Which, you know, in terms of YouTube videos that have millions of views is nothing, but for a first little vlog, a first attempt, I am chuffed to bits with that. And I had so many messages of encouragement, so much support and everything. The trouble was, chaps, it was pretty much all on Facebook. Now, if you're on Facebook, I already know you. You're already within my reach. Doesn't help to reach people that aren't already my friends. So, if you could do one thing for me as a special favour, it would be absolutely lovely if you could just click the like button underneath this video. But you know what? Or the dislike button. I don't think it really matters. And if you would go as far as hitting the subscribe button, it's free, you can change your mind any time. And if some of you want to go mad and leave a comment underneath, that would be brilliant. Just go on there and tell me something about the video, like how saying because physics all the time when talking about photography is really annoying. Yeah, I know it is. And that way, if I'm interacting already, I'm interacting with you, you need to interact back. If you all interact back with me, that way we can grow the channel and I can become rich and famous. We can help people, we can help more people. Yeah, that's it. Right, I'm going to prove myself and everybody else wrong by actually finishing this video, taking the information from off of that camera and sticking it onto that computer there, and actually putting this video out. That's the plan. So until next time, please be lovely to each other and, I don't know, never sneeze while you're hiding.